I did it. So.
Hey, Brian. This meeting is being recorded on the back screen.
Okay, it is 10 o'clock. Call the Harrison County Commission meeting for June the 30th to order. You rise.
Heavenly Father, as always, thank you for this day. I thank you for the people in this room. I pray that all the individuals here and in this courthouse come in, leave, and have safe travels to their next destination. I pray that this meeting is productive. I pray that we all work together in harmony as you would have us work together. In Jesus' precious name, we pray all these things. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. At 10 o'clock, we have a proclamation to be presented to Dr. Helen Jones. You want to come up?
Well, may I say my thanks first?
Sure.
When I had the open door, this is one place I could always get in. When you didn't have money to pay the rent or whatever. And so I am already indebted. Appreciate you so much. And I'm so pleased when one of your students does this for you. Oh, that's a happy feeling. Appreciate it indeed.
Rain face, everybody.
All right,
And I'm going to let you hold your proclamation while I read it.
all right.
How are you, Helen?
Whereas Dr. Jones, a native of Weston, West Virginia, has had a long rewarding career as an educator, inspiring several generations of students, beginning her career as a kindergarten teacher through the Shinston Baptist Church. And whereas Dr. Jones graduated from Fairmont State College in 1968 and began teaching social studies and science at Shinston Elementary and Junior High School. And during this time period, was certified through Purdue University to teach gifted children. And whereas Dr. Jones received a master's degree in education from West Virginia University in 1972. And whereas Dr. Jones became the director of Salem International University's education program, training the teachers of tomorrow. And whereas Dr. Jones received her doctorate in 1980 and joined the faculty of Fairmont State College's Education Department until her retirement in 1997. And whereas Dr. Jones continued serving her community, working for the superintendent of Harrison County Schools, publishing a newspaper and writing speeches. And whereas Dr. Jones has shown amazing compassion, helping her fellow man, especially the homeless citizens of Clarksburg, by distributing clothing items and helping to build a common area at the Clarksburg mission called the Open Door. And whereas Dr. Jones has volunteered her time working with Clarksburg Harrison Regional Housing Authority, helping countless in need of obtaining employment and a better life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Harrison County Commission does hereby proclaim, this was done last week, Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021, as Dr. Helen Jones Day. Throughout Harrison County in recognition for her service of this outstanding teacher and volunteer and her honorable Christian life, helping those less fortunate. Passed by the Harrison County Commission of Harrison County, West Virginia, this 23rd day of June, 2021. Signed by your commissioners and attested by the clerk.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And David, I want to thank David Tucker here. He's the one. He was over there.
Over there.
He moved. That's okay. David Tucker, who
did this for me and you and the previous members of this commission and all those in my whole life who have helped me. I've been a very, very lucky person, and I'm pretty old now. And people say, no, you're not. I said, in October, I will be 88. But I'm still going strong.
Let's wish her at least 12 more birthdays. I want to take
Thank
this
you.
opportunity to thank the members of the commission. I'm just so thankful that you did this. I kind of kidded with Dr. Jones as a former student that this was my way of making up for being such a pain when I was in her class. You know, I'm a retired soldier and I spent 25 years in the Army. I'm always glad when people call soldiers heroes, but to me, teachers are heroes too. They're role models, inspiration, and kids always need that. And they come no farther than this dear lady here. We live in a society that's full of people that are selfish and takers, but Dr. Jones is selfless and a giver. And I just say, God bless her. And let's give this fine lady another round of applause.
Thank you, and thank you, David. We'll get out of the way now.
Had to take it. My mom's an oracle.
See, I didn't recognize.
Students, it don't matter. I'll let the student teacher change it. So, she's doing good. She's actually pretty teacher.
Well, that's what I'll be in October.
So
Tell her I said happy birthday.
I will. It's great seeing you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Oh, let me grab it.
Okay, at 10 o'clock, we also have Harrison County subdivision and land development ordinance. I believe this is a public hearing for the ordinance, is that correct?
Madam President,
Yes.
I have an issue with this.
Okay,
This would not give the public or anybody any idea what we were talking about today. There's nothing in this description that says what we're going to do. And the public was invited to speak. And I think it needs to take a proper notice.
I believe it was published in the paper, but I would agree with the title on the agenda.
It certainly was published in the paper. There's a specific statute we have to publish before we can consider this type of ordinance, but you all know how I feel about this. If he wants to push it back, I mean, I have no problem with that as long as it's okay with Charlotte. We've already met the notice requirement of publication.
But we'd have to republish for a hearing, correct?
We wouldn't have to,
There's no description for on what we're doing.
I agree with you on the
Yeah, and
agenda.
then we've had this same conversation on that.
We have on a number
I
of
think it would
issues.
have to be published, republished.
Yeah, we have to either
Someone make a motion.
republish or issue a corrected publication with a new public hearing date.
Yes, that's my motion. We're not gonna let the county know what our intentions are. There's no point putting it in.
A motion's been made to table the public hearing for the subdivision land development ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. So we'll get another hearing date, make sure that there's note on the agenda next time it is a public hearing. Okay, public comment. I see some names on the list up here.
Mr. Farrell, my.
My name's David James Farrell. I'm from Bridgeport. I just wanted to comment about the rail trail paving. I was, when I got out of the army, it was, came to Clarksburg, I worked at the VA hospital here. And we have back trouble and issues, and they said, you got a nice soft trail right out here at the VA park to walk. And I did. I walked out there, and countless other aged veterans walked out there. So the Clarksburg city paves it. So now that's not available to people with knee and back problems. But they had a beautiful rail trail system. I was able to use that. It's a soft, smooth surface without roots and stuff sticking out, without concrete and blacktop. And for the aged population with all kinds of medical problems, what a great place to exercise. I had a guy from the state tell me one time, I was like, man, this is paradise out here. It's nice and smooth and soft to walk on. So the Harrison County Commission, with all these aged veterans, aged people who need soft places to walk, your solutions to pave it. I mean, everything's paved around here, everything. There's no places for, except there that I know of, for a guy to walk or run on a smooth, soft surface. It's amazing. And this is, if ever was a place that needed that, this is this place. And I've got bad knees, bad back, and I know veterans up there, aged, they can't walk on that surface. They've told me that. I worked as a nurse up there for years, retired from it. And there's no place that they can buy a membership, get on a treadmill and plop around the blacktop. And you're paving, we're only asking that one strip of it not be paved. That's it. From Shinston to the Marion County line. And the cost is going to be enormous. You guys can check with the city of Bridgeport how much it costs. I've heard it unbelievably. It could better be used to put bathrooms in the city parks that are capable of handling the crowds now. The cost has got to be enormous to pave the rail trail instead of putting a nice smooth crusher run gravel. I just can't believe that you guys would do that. This beautiful place, it really is. It used to look, it's been neglected for years, but it used to look like blacktop from the bridge up there. It was so smooth and nice. That's all I got to say. I just can't believe you would do that in this area. If there was an area that needed soft walking, running areas that are shaded, nice, it's this area. Thank
Mr. Hooper? The agenda.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Dawkins? I'm on the agenda also. Mr. Person?
First off, I'd like to hand this in. This is an additional names that were sent to you from the city Shinston Council. Instead of 19 names, there's now 40. And so I wanted to turn that in. And I'd like to, and thank you for having me here. The Shinston City Council has spoken. The residents of Shinston and other residents of Harrison County have spoken. 40 people who utilize the trail signed a petition to not pave the rail trail that runs from Shinston to Enterprise. The Harrison County Commission should listen to their constituents on this important issue. You were elected to benefit the residents of Harrison County. We want this commission to better our section of the rail trail in the way that we want it improved. That involves putting a crush and run base for our trail, not asphalt. Many people voted for you to be on this commission, myself included. Now we ask you to listen to the people that put you in office. That is the way a representative democracy should work. No other rail trail section will be affected by this decision to put crush and run on our section. There are plenty of trails that are paved for those who want to walk, ride, or bike on such a surface. Please respect the wishes of our community on this important issue. On the news, I don't know if you watch this or not, the asphalt right now is running anywhere between 113 degrees in the sun to 126. They just had that one on last night. We really don't want that down there. And we would like you to seriously consider the people in Shinston and what they want. I only had 6 people that I asked. 4 said they wanted it paid. 2 didn't care one way or the other, but 40 people signed that they're going in the other direction.
for Brush and Run. We would like you to definitely do that for us. Thank you.
Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly?
Okay.
Anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Hearing none, we will move on to 10:15. Public nuisance hearing for Nettie Sampson. Sorry. Nettie here.
Committee up for.
Nettie Sampson. One is to the front table.
Yeah, you can take it.
No, they're all right. Pictures or marks.
You're here for Nettie Sampson?
Yes.
Okay.
They have been on radar for quite a while. Here's the original one. It looks like since, last January. 2020. We've got no response, no nothing. And the place looks exactly like the same as from the first time.
Do you have any pictures of it?
Mhm.
Here's,
Sorry.
anything else you want to say? Sure.
Um,
Does it still look like this? today?
yes, it does.
Would you gentlemen please identify yourselves?
I'm William E. Sampson, and Nettie is my grandmother, and it's the homestead farm where I redid and redoing because it didn't even have electric whenever I moved in. Or the bathroom, I had to replumb everything. And it doesn't look like that now. Because if you see that tire in that picture, it fell off of someone's truck and I put it out front and wrote the size on it so they could try to give it back to them. Or if I could have sold it, I would have sold it, but that's one, that thing is not there. I've been doing a lot and then this Cobra or whatever hit and it kind of slowed me down. And I got rid of one vehicle to my friend. He come to visit me and it broke down in front of my house. So I done hauled one of them back to his house, but I have been cleaning it up. I talked to someone before and they told me that on the trailer, I want to put hay in there. So I have the windows all boarded up on it. And let's see. I've just been trying. I mean, but it don't look like nothing like those pictures. I couldn't afford to get a phone that took pictures, or I was going to get one and take pictures of it now and bring it to you. But I
Does
have
it
been
look
trying.
like this today?
No, ma'am. There's a van there that I am hauling to the junkyard.
But it's still there.
No,
Oh,
it's,
okay. Are these vehicles going?
that was my brother's Jeep that was visiting, and the red thing behind there, he was delivering firewood. And I had a trailer clear full of stuff to take to the junkyard. I have been trying. I still have, I'm hauling another van away to the junkyard. And there's a blue truck there that goes to my buddies across the hill, but I just haven't had the money to pay anyone to haul it over there. But it will be going
Is
to.
this still piled up, that garbage?
No, ma'am, those are beer cans, recycle.
Oh, but
I
the
don't
bags
even-
are still
That
there.
ain't even my
That's
house.
not your property?
No, no, ma'am.
It's called hearings.
Oh, it's a different one?
That, he's gonna bring up the ones that look like today. Linda went out, took pictures Monday.
Well,
So these pictures are today's pictures. Some of them are. Okay.
those are a long time, last year.
It's called hearings. It says.
I got it. Simpson, Hickman, Travis. and-
Same thing. Yeah. That was Monday.
And that's when we're loading up a vehicle all the way. Cause I was gonna, it was a good car, I was gonna restore it. But if you can see in the picture.
It's first nose.
And if you see the van door open, that's where I'm loading it up to make it weigh more, to get more money out of it. Cause the more stuff you put in it, the more they sell by the 100 pounds.
And you said you sent them something, you've been working on this since last January, or this January, this past January,
Last
in
January,
2020.
2020.
And the black truck sitting up there in the back, that's a farm use truck, 1977. It has insurance on it. And the Dodge truck there is farm use, but the black one is registered as farm use with the insurance and everything. But there's insurance on the Dodge and the black truck up there. But the van is gonna go. And if you look behind like that Dodge, there's a blue Ford Ranger there. It's going to be going as soon as I can afford to pay to get it hauled across the hill. And lawnmowers, I have to work on them to cut the grass. But I take care of 2 farms up the road. And it's hard on lawnmowers. And you can see the window that I did, the whole trailer, I put the shutters up where I got recycling. I covered up the windows with them. Instead of putting them for decoration, I made them the windows.
Is that just the only 2 pictures you have?
Yes, I have that one from 2020. This is one from 2020. That's one of the original pictures.
And in the front by my gate there, those are all the way down through there are roses sharing. They're not weeds. But this one. Let me see this.
You got any?
Motion is, got 2 weeks to make a sizable dent. If you don't see something, Joe's gonna come back in 2 weeks and bring us an update. And if you haven't made any real progress, then we're gonna turn it over to the court.
Okay, sir.
So the motion is, you have 2 weeks to make some kind of improvement of enough to keep planning happy. If not, then we'll turn it over.
Could I ask you, I'm not, probably not gonna do it, but could I put a privacy fence up or not, or? I mean, cause I do burn firewood, I know it looks bad, but I gotta keep warm. I have firewood and I got gas and I got propane. But whenever you cut firewood, you gotta have somewhere to put it. And it does look bad.
Well, I don't think the issue from what I see in the picture is firewood. I think the issue is just junk, the cars.
Okay,
I don't think anybody's gonna say anything about a big pile of firewood.
okay.
Everybody understands that.
Now, am I allowed to keep my Dodge truck and my Ford truck?
Do they run?
Yes, I use them on the farm. And I'm gonna
I
put
don't
hay
think
in.
That's an issue. I think if we're gonna be turning into garbage trucks and just collect garbage, it's a different story. Yes.
Unfortunately, by law, he is allowed to have three
Three
vehicles.
So you've got, from the looks of it, more than 3 vehicles. So
Yes, there's 5. And I'm gonna get rid of them, the 2 of them, but my friend come to see me and it broke down. Winter time.
So let's see what we get accomplished in the next couple of weeks.
Motion's been made to give them 2 weeks to make some progress, and if not, then we'll go to the circuit court for further discussion.
Now, do I come back and show you, or do I send them pictures or something?
They'll take care of one out to look at, am I correct, Sean?
You are correct.
No, we'll take care of it, you don't need to, just work on getting.
Go
it
about my
cleaned up.
business?
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you for your time. Now maybe I'll go home to the bed. Up all night worrying.
Oh,
Yeah.
see ya. Okay, 10:25, Alfred Hickman.
Anybody else?
Please identify yourself for the record.
My name's Jeanette Hickman. I own the house that my
What was the
brother,
first name? Sorry,
Jeanette.
Jeanette. We just need that for the record.
And I'm Rebecca Moran. Rebecca Moran.
Moran, M-O-R-A-N.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yesterday. We've been with this one since November of 2020.
Anything else you want to say, Charlotte? Not much to say.
I've taken
Where
pictures.
is Alfred?
He's
He's,
not here. He told me he didn't have to be here.
How's the property title?
It's titled to Alfred Keith Hickman.
she had paid it off. She had to pay a $13,000 loan and the $13,000 for her house originally. She had it paid off 2 years ago, and we've been trying to get Alfred to go with us to a lawyer to have the deed switched over. We've offered to pay, and we've been having a really hard time with it. And we were hoping maybe with this kind of, we'd be able to get him moving to get it in there. We're willing to pay for the lawyer to write the deed out for us, and then we'll pay to have it entered. We just can't get him to go with us to go do it. We've made appointments with lawyers and he's not come in. She had to pay her bank through the bank for the mortgage, her payments. I have where she had made her last payment. I didn't think to bring it. I was kind of stressed out this morning. But I have all my papers for that. She has every single payment she's ever made for it. And even the original agreement to what was to be paid and how much and when it was to be paid by.
Are you related to Alfred?
He is my brother.
He should be here, just like the prior hearing, because really standing to object, we need the actual owner here. What I would suggest we do, out of fairness, is they're here, let's certainly, if they have evidence, pictures of work that's been done,
I did.
let's take a look at it, just to be fair. But in the future, tell Alfred, he is still the record owner for the property, he needs to be here, and he needs to respond, which might help you all get the deed transferred over.
Yes, that's what I
as
would
well.
like.
Okay.
Just the original. What they original pictures.
You all live in, do you live in the house?
Yes, she's not out.
I'm her daughter-in-law. I've been with her husband, her son for the last 7 years. And from
But you
this,
live in this house?
from this picture up is all that I took this morning before we left. It was the easiest way to show you because I'm
Can I
always
ask
getting
you,
my pictures.
what does all this with Alfred have to do with cleanup?
I just, because it's in his name and it sometimes confuses people when we go in places because she owns it and we just want to make sure that we understood that it was her house and he was just kind of in his name still. We haven't been able to get it switched. We haven't been able to make an agreement with him to get it switched over.
Was Alfred served before we go any farther?
Well,
He's received the papers, yes, that we gotten in the mail. We did call him actually when the mail lady had her sign for it and we give him paper
the
actually.
lady that served me the paper, and I told her,
But you're not Alfred.
no, I mean, sister.
She resigned it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've been there for about
over 10 years.
probably 20 years.
As I said, I've been there for 7.
Justin was 5.
Yeah, that's, and Shane was 9 too, and he's
Mhm.
31 and Justin's 26. Her sons,
So there's 4 people in there.
yeah, and my 2 kids as well.
And I'm okay.
Which I live in, I've actually been staying in my camper at the moment because I was kind of looking into moving possibly. I just haven't decided if we were gonna move yet. Not very easy when you don't have very much money. I'm from out of state, so I was looking into moving back home.
So you were served before Alfred, it looks like to me from this paper.
Yeah, she told me to make sure that Alfred seen it, and he stopped by that evening, I gave him the paper.
Gentlemen. Questions or? You think we can move forward with this, Trey, or to give them a little bit of time to clean it up?
I'd give him 2 weeks to clean it up with a clear message, and if it's not cleaned up in 2 weeks, Alfred's gonna be served, and he's gonna be here personally.
May I ask what would be mostly to be picked up? I have a whole bunch of dump receipts and scrap receipts from what they have taken out of here. I just, like I said, this morning was kind of hectic to get everything
What's the
situated.
pile by the motor?
It
and the
is scrap.
tires?
It's gotta be taken to the scrap. The tires, they have to be taken out. I have to have Steve Roy
I mean,
haul
You're
it for
making
me.
progress, don't get me wrong.
He's doing hay right now and he's been really busy. I was planning on getting it in. And his trailer broke an axle, of course, so it's kind of like some stuff, it's kind of hard to do.
2
On
weeks,
our
and
own.
they can give us the scrap receipts. We'll take a
That's-
look
I can
at
do
those,
that.
Put them in the file.
Absolutely.
And then, but make clear to Alfred that if it's not
Is-
cleaned up, he's the one who's gonna have to come answer for it. He's the one who's gonna get served with the
Is-
circuit complaints.
Would there be any way somebody from the courthouse be able to tell him? Because he told us he had come in here himself and had asked about it. And they told him that he didn't have to be there and whether he really did or not is not, I don't know for sure, but that's what he had told us. So I know he won't believe us.
He told me. he
As silly as
talked
that
to the
sounds,
judge,
I know
and
it
the
kinda
judge
sounds
said
silly,
he didn't
but-
have to be here.
Right.
Property is still in his name.
That's what we tried to tell
Can
him.
we
Told me to just be better safe than sorry.
serve a bench warrant
What's
for
his
him to ship up here?
You know?
My comment was if it goes to circuit court, he's gonna be the one who has to come in and answer because the title's still in his name. I don't think we should get in the practice of serving bench warrants if we can. I don't know if that's something we've ever done. Have we?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never heard.
Most people show up.
That's not, we have to take a look at that, but certainly they're making some progress. Let's work with them. But in the future, it's gonna be Alfred who has to answer unless they get a deed.
Charlotte, can you send somebody down next week to at least point out that they think they clean what they need to get?
That would be great, actually. That would really help us a lot. It's pretty well just been me and Shane, and her middle son, doing all of the cleaning and taking care of everything, and it's not really easy on two of us.
So
You think a deputy would be more effective?
I just send Mr. Hammer out there.
Work with the others, work with Justin, if they send a deputy.
But
He'd
when you go to
understand the
serve-
severity of it.
When we go to serve a deputy, certainly more effective. Yeah. Go through the process division.
Would it,
That's what you're talking about, Charlotte.
I'm not talking about taking a process serving thing.
That's what I mean,
Deputy.
for him to be served,
Yeah.
not to go.
if, would it, I can get his actual address as well. That way they
That
can
would
go
be
to
great.
straight to
We would
his
get-
house.
we would get that.
And he gets out of work at about 5 or so, so I mean, that would help a lot more, I'd say. I just
Yeah,
have to
maybe
ask.
an afternoon. Deputy conservator.
That'd be great.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll figure out what's stuff. Revisit in 2 weeks. Just have to go down and help them identify what needs to be. We don't see any progress at the end of 2 weeks. To have a deputy serve. Predict them in person. Doesn't show up, take it to court. I think that should cover it all.
We have to do it.
Do we need to set another hearing back here for him to appear, right?
Well, once they get it cleaned
Let's,
up.
Unless they
give
get
them,
it cleaned
let's
up.
give them the 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then also just like we requested before, if you can provide the planning department proof of the receipts.
I
or
can
what you
give them
took-
to her as soon as she comes
What you
to the
took to the
house.
dump, that would help.
In
as
fact,
well.
I have them, I
You
didn't
wanna put
grab
an
them.
update on the agenda for in 2 weeks. That way we don't lose sight of it.
I actually should, we should have turned around and went back and got them. I
Okay,
knew
you
that.
want me to repeat that or am I okay? You understand how to? Okay, as David stated in his motion, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, and thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in and good luck. 10:35 is Amanda Travis. Nuisance, nuisance hearing. Amanda.
Yes.
Just mixed up. Okay, this one has been since January of this year. Sure, I'll take that. Like 3 months later, this is 3 months later, and then Brian has some from Monday. I don't know if she doesn't have, do you not have garbage service?
I don't know. I actually was waiting on my check. It's just me and the kids and I just couldn't afford it. I was trying to catch up on bills and I'm getting it Friday. My uncle just got a trailer as well, so we're going to get it out there this weekend.
So Charlotte's main thing is garbage around the building.
That's,
And this car work.
That's not mine. It's my dad's now.
the neighbors, I guess, are calling. Because of the rats, I guess.
You think you can get this cleaned up?
Mhm.
How quick?
I was gonna work on it this weekend. So can you give me a week? My main goal is to get it out by the weekend. My main goal is to get it out by the weekend.
And if it's not cleaned up, then what? Is there a motion? Okay, motion is to give 2 weeks in order to get that cleaned up. And if it's not cleaned up, then it will be taken to circuit.
Okay.
Okay. So you can get that Friday.
I'll tell him to get it out. It's dad, so yeah, I'll make him get it out.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good enough?
Consent agenda. What's the pleasure? Motion to move forward with the consent agenda. Any discussion? Still have a couple minutes first. We'll take care of that.
Stuff for the volunteer fire departments. It's information for. mid-year.
It's covering the year that we are in.
No. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Payroll change notices. Motion has been made to approve and adopt into the record. Any further discussion on this or any discussion on this?
Just like to note that retirement from clerk. Been with the county for a long time and supervision of Ms. Thomas when she was county clerk. Susan, what many years she was here.
22, somebody said, okay.
So, congratulated her on serving the county and there is a get together, I think, on Friday.
Today, it's today at voters registration, so if you over there and thank Mary for all her years of service. She has put a lot into her job over the years. She's been a great paper. She was very helpful to me when I came. Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, I have 10:45. We have a state of Roberta Sue Gano to appoint executive. And I take it you're Sandy
Yes.
and you are Denise.
Yes, ma'am.
I kind of glanced over your petition. Do you want to explain what it is you're trying to achieve here today?
Well, what we're trying to achieve is to get someone appointed to proceed with settling the estate. And because of Roberta's daughter's situation, you know, if you glanced over, you probably noticed it said she's a drug addict and totally irresponsible. And we just need to get someone appointed to move forward with this, to get things settled.
And she's not able to sign a waiver.
She comes up missing, you know. She was on the run because of a charge against her for theft. And she was in prison. She's been out. I think she was released the evening of June the 10th. And we saw her, I saw her one time. And after that, she's proceeded to get with her friends and, you know, she's disappeared again. And she reappeared about a day or so ago, only to be totally out of it. So I guess the answer is no, we can't get her to sign a waiver.
As John was only the only one appointed, there was not an alternate name, correct?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't hear well.
I know, but I just, the will, what I said was John has passed. And there
Yes,
was
he
not
has.
an alternate listed in the will.
No.
Okay. I'll just place that it appears that the notice sent to her came back. Returned to sender unclaimed, unable to forward for the record. The two individuals here. Go ahead and I don't see any problem with moving forward to appoint them as code.
Gonna require a bond.
I would say we would probably.
That's my only question in the notes.
What do you think?
Yes.
Would that be both of us requiring bond?
Yes. It's normally the amount of the estate, what is in the estate is what said.
Okay.
So you would be to move forward with the change of executives with the bond based on the appraisal of this.
Not necessarily, they don't need to do an appraisal. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just, they usually give a figure of what's in the estate, and that's what the bond amount is.
Yeah, and I came prepared to list the assets and stuff.
So that's your motion to move forward and appoint Samuel Gano and Denise Bennett as co-executors of the will of Roberta Sue Gano heirs with the bond amount. What's left in the estate? What is in the estate?
When you see the budget before we-
No, they'll do that. They'll bring somebody with them.
So when you say the bond amount, that means that the bondsman will set what they charge according
Based on the
to.
amount, I believe that's how it's
Okay.
done.
Of the estate.
Yeah, okay.
Was there any property in her possession that you all are aware of?
Yes, she had a home, like
I mean, the original executive of the estate. She could never take possession of anything. If they want me to get over to you. Not following my question.
I don't, I'm
Okay.
sorry, you have to speak up. a
So
little bit.
the daughter who was originally set forth in the will, does she have any property that belongs to the estate? To your all's knowledge?
No,
Okay,
no,
that was my question.
no, there is, it's a really old car. I mean, it's really old, it might even, it's basically a junker. I think her mom's name is on the title along with hers, but
She's on the title.
yeah.
Not gonna get into that.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I can even think of that would, that she'd have any direct access to.
Is there anything further? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Well, can we add that? Can you prepare the order? Can we add to that motion?
I'll prepare the order for your signature.
Okay, this way we'll prepare an order, because you'll have to wait till you get an order signed before you can.
Okay.
Sorry, can we add that to your motion?
Please.
Now, here we go. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Get this. Get that order to you. We'll let you know as soon as possible. As soon as we
Okay,
can.
so that's something you'll mail to each one of us?
So we'll let you know. If you want to come pick it up and go down and qualify, you could do that all in one.
All in one day?
If you want to do that.
Okay,
I mean, that's just a thought.
okay. Mhm, yeah. It's easy for me because I have the time, whereas he works at the mines and he can't get the time.
Right.
So, and that is one question I did have. I don't know if I asked you or if I asked the clerk or who, but when you're does that mean that both have to be present to take care of any business? Not necessarily, does it? I mean, like,
I mean, anything that's filed with the clerk, and I don't mean to speak to the clerk, would have to be signed by the clerk.
well, yeah, by both, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. We thank you for your time.
Well, you're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Are we dismissed?
Yes.
Thank you.
And number 4, minutes or amended minutes of previous meetings. We're on to the minutes. I'm ready.
June 16th. Minutes do not reflect the consent agenda. It's not included in the minutes. Again, same group. Vendor requisition list of payments. There's no problem. Still having issues with supplying titles to people when they speak the word for us. See. I thought I was here. Somebody verify that.
Well, I remember there was one, you were at Zoom, it has you down at Zoom in both the 16th and the 23rd.
That's the 23rd that I have noted.
Yeah,
It
that's
hasn't
what he was here.
Yeah.
Zoom, was it the 16th?
So that needs corrected. James Balot. Down as a resignation, didn't retire.
Retired.
Wrong way it's stated in the correct minutes. consent agenda, it's not part of the minutes. So,
Check on that.
we have titles from people who spoke, but we don't know actually who they are. That's it for the minutes.
Yeah, and the other one I had was the,
So my motion would be for the minutes that accept the draft form with corrections and bring them back to the commission for final approval.
for the 16th and the 23rd.
Yeah.
The other two are okay.
If they're in draft form, Susan, they need to be brought back to us and final form.
I'm not so sure about that, but
I just don't like making drafts for the correct. I think that's.
okay, so in other words, we need to bring back the minutes corrected for the 16th and 23rd and original minutes for the special and the work session, correct?
Yes. We don't rely on draft for.
And can we specify for the 23rd from that commission meeting, because you also had a work session on the 23rd, and I believe. that
Yeah,
those
that's what
minutes are
I
fine.
meant, the work session and the special meeting. Those two will come back, are okay. They don't need any changes. Just B and C, we changed,
Correct.
but they all need to come back in final format. With the changes. Any further discussion? No. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carried. Okay, requisition.
Again, I have problems with the requisitions.
What's your problem?
Development Board, Public Library, the Summit Center, Duval, County, Harrison County Health Department, Health Access, Region 6. They're all, or not, should be not approved or paid. Approved today. It's money coming out of this year's budget and next year's budget. They should not be listed for payment.
Why do you say think they should be not listed for payment, or isn't that out of the levy? Isn't that their levy payment?
But it's not due to the first quarter.
Where does it say? Does it say that in the levy?
Yes, ma'am.
And it does have on that they are the first quarter, July through
So
October.
we're approving it now, so that it will be technically out of this year's budget by approving it. Approving the expenditure.
I don't know that I don't know enough to, I'm not gonna. Can't answer that.
Creates a liability to the current year, so.
We can take them off and have them on
Okay.
next week's agenda.
So remove those.
All the first quarter allotments, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else on the resolution?
Question on the 30,000 Lost Creek, is that due then, what's due before July, or is this carryover that's gonna be, shouldn't be paid to next year?
No, this is actually this year, this budget year, 2021, but they haven't used a penny of theirs. Because that was my first question, is this their new money for July? But no, this is actually for 2021.
What about six?
Region 6, that's another one we should pull. Because it's for the new dues.
I think that's it.
Any further discussion on that? So you want to pull, you want to list those again? We'll make sure we we are. If those people are, I'm not trying to say.
Harrison County Economic Development, Clarksburg, Harrison Public Library, Summit Center, Susan Big Memorial Clinic, County Nutritional, Harrison County Clarksburg Health Department, Health Access, and Region 6.
Yes, that's all I have on.
And the rest of them are
Rest
okay
of
to
them are
move
fine.
forward.
Pull those till next meeting.
All in favor? Excuse me? All in, you, is there any further discussion? No. Okay, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Exonerations, corrective tickets, joint property. Motion's been made to approve and adopt and direct on the discussion. Okay, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. Number 7, review, discuss, consider correspondence concerning opposition to paving the rail trail from Shinston to Marion County. You want to make this part of the record?
I would recommend making it part of the record that you received it and the list of signatures that they sent.
You okay with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
And taken into consideration.
I think that the people of Shinston are trying to send us a message. That they don't want their trails paved. I haven't seen anybody show and come up to the commission yet to say they want it paved. So if these gentlemen continue to get more names for on the petition, and hold this commission's feet to the fire.
Okay, I did hand in an extra 21 names.
Just keep on going.
Okay.
More the merrier.
We'd also like to hear from those that want it too, if there are any individuals out there.
Well,
Fair.
that's, like I said, most of the people
I
down
understand,
there
I understand.
don't want it. And I did have a question. Are we now doing the grass cutting down there in Harrison County? Is that all?
We should be.
Okay, because it could really use it at this point in time. You know, we've got some other issues down there, of course, that need to be, you know, looked at. And that one culvert, I think you may have seen it right past the bridge. That's going to continue to get worse. That's something that they really need to take a look at, because that's a really steep drop off there. And who will run this? Like, would Mike Book, is he still?
Well, right now, I believe, I mean, we've got Charlotte works with the rail and maintenance is doing the maintenance. I believe I'm correct.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
For the time being anyways, that's how it is.
All right. Generally, I would contact Tony down in Marion County when like there was a tree down or something like that. They would come down and cut it up and
You might
get
just,
it off the trail.
you can just contact your office or the commission's office.
I think the commission's office, because then we can get it to El faster.
So,
You're talking, sir, down in the Marion County section of the trail.
well, no, actually, they were taking care of, Marion County was taking care of our section of the trail for years.
Okay.
I got to know the man who runs it, Tony, down there rather well, because, you know, when there was problems, I would call him. And they were always real good about, you know, taking care of things. But with the transition, obviously, that's not going to, you know, apply anymore. So I just wanted to know, who we contact,
Just call the commission's office.
okay?
They'll see that it is taken care of. Make every effort.
Okay, I appreciate that, and the people of Shinson appreciate that. I guess, I'll continue to, get anybody to sign it, but at this point in time, we're starting to run out of people who actually use the trail. Like I said, of all the people that I asked, there were four that wanted it paved, and 2 that didn't care one way or another. And the other 40 people did. And like I said, I don't know how many other people we can contact because there's only a certain number of people actually.
Well, if
use
you run
the
into
trail.
them, just.
Oh, I will. That won't be a problem. And so I guess, is this just on hold? Is this, as far as paving, or is this not gonna happen?
This commission said not gonna be corrected, but they plan to pave all road trails. West and the north and the south.
Now, let me ask you this, and I'm not saying this is what we're gonna do, but it was
Okay.
suggested to, and Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, if you could give me the footage about paving part of it and using the crush and run on part of it. What
Well,
was the, I just want to clarify how wide it would be paved and what the.
Right, well, I had heard there was going to be, I had somebody knock on
Chad,
my.
he's back here from Thrash. That's what I'm asking him, if he can tell us.
Oh, okay, I'm
So,
sorry.
no, it's okay, it's okay.
So 6 feet would be paved, and then we have a 2-foot stone shoulder along the side. So a total of 8 feet in width.
And that's not acceptable to
Well,
you all.
for the people, I mean, a lot of bikes.
I want to make
Oh,
sure
I
I know, I
understand.
want you to be clear what's going on.
Right, for the people who ride bikes, most of them are either solo or they're riding one behind each other. When you're biking, you're going pretty fast, you don't talk much.
I don't do that fast.
But, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't either at my age, but when you're walking, I mean, people walk together. Well, a 2 foot is not going to allow people to do that. But I was also told at one point that, they were going to do 3 foot and 3 foot. I actually had somebody come to my house and tell me that.
I think
And,
you're the one I talked to, and I wasn't sure what that was gonna be.
right, and, but then I found out that they can only do 6 foot. And that kind of threw that whole idea out the door. 3 foot and 3 foot would be, I'm sure would be fine with a lot of people. But 6 and 2, like I said, we walk together, we talk. And that just wouldn't be possible with a 2 foot piece. So that's why we were like, okay, we can't do the 3 and 3. Then, we really don't want the 6 foot pavement, and we wouldn't want it all crush and run. And as far as the bicycles go, they have no problem down there as far as biking. Actually, a number of the people who signed that petition are bikers. And they don't have a problem with it either. And so, that's just basically where the people are in Shinnston and how they feel about this. And so I don't know I can give you any more info on this. It's just people actually come from Clarksburg and Bridgeport to come to our trail to walk because it's easier on them. Yeah, because they've all been paid there at this point. Okay,
Appreciate it. Appreciate
all right,
your work on this.
all right. We'll continue.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Hey, you too. Okay, number 8, review, discuss, consider update on supplies for fence around the cocoa. Sure. What were some of them?
I had Charlotte pull some pictures of the cocoa, so you understand exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about putting the fence around.
I just sent a very few because there's just so many. sign those.
And these are where?
They're alongside the rail trail in Glen Falls. That's one of the better ones that's not buried really bad. Most of them have like trees growing on them and they need to be cleaned out. And
And as far as the fencing, I mean, it doesn't. How are you gonna do all, I mean, are they close together?
they are right in a row. And I didn't bring the figures, but I gave them to you, right? Yes. Okay. And David wanted to know about a 5-foot fence. Yes.
And that looks like it raised $3,000.
Yeah, that's from 10 up to 13 too.
Motion's been made to approve placing of the 5-foot fence. With Coke ovens. Any further discussion?
I just want to say that there were some articles this week and have been down in the New River area that talks about these same things, these coke ovens and how they have been used for tourism and anything that has to deal with old coal towns. So I think we have an opportunity here to not totally duplicate it, but try to make it a stop that people would be interested in seeing, especially at some point we can get a group to rebuild the old store and maybe even look at doing some kind of old tool or find the people to take down there. So I think it's be a good community program for a lot of different historical groups involved. That's all.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. To review, discuss, consider budget revision for prosecuting attorney. Been self-explanatory.
Yes, with it being the end of the year, several have submitted budget revisions within their budget for line items.
Motion to approve.
I guess I'm confused. Invoice to be paid by this month, this movement of money. One of my fellow commissioners didn't want to sign it. So I'm trying to understand why we're approving movement of money. To pay that bill, but they didn't want to sign off on. So, I get an explanation.
Hearing none, all in favor of moving forward with the, hearing no explanation? Yes.
It just seems strange that we transfer money to pay something that all three commissioners didn't agree to do. One of the three of us then agreed to do the money.
Maybe there's been a change of heart since last year, I don't know. Motion
Should
to-
I send this down and see if it gets signed?
The motion's been made to approve the transfer, the budget transfer revision. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Sure is. Review, discuss, consider Suddenly franchise renewal agreement, draft 2021.
And this is a document that I believe Trey has reviewed.
Yes, ma'am. So, I reviewed, we made some changes. What we're trying to do on all these cable franchises is make them all the same in the future. So we're bringing a little bit more modern, some better insurance requirements. We're confirming that we want to get the maximum allowable federal franchise fee on all of them because the Fed said it. And there were just some other changes to bring it modern. That's been reviewed and approved by.
Pleasure. Motion to move forward with the renewal agreement with Suddenly. With the appropriate signatures, please. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Please note the opposition. Thank you. Okay, review, discuss, consider transfer of funds for the circuit. Book. The motion's been made to approve the revision. Any discussion? Or transfer of funds, excuse me. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Have review, discuss, consider transfer of funds for the sheriff's office and court security. Motion has been made to approve. Any discussion?
Where's the court security?
It should not be court security. It's all law enforcement.
So there's no court security.
On what I said, that's why.
So we'll scratch that. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I just want to make it clear that the motion I heard, I know they said it scratched it, but for
Would you restate your motion, please, Mr. Treeboss? If you would.
Scratch the court security part of the, you want me to change, you want me to word it different than the motion to approve?
yes, sir.
Go ahead and change it.
Transfer of funds to the sheriff office.
A motion's
For
been
the
made.
2021 budget.
Motion's been made to approve the transfer of funds for the sheriff's office for the 2021 budget. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. A review, discuss, consider the bid for the window replacement to city construction in the amount of 49.4.
Yeah, last week we had the bid opening for the window project and we only have the one bid, which was from City Construction Company in the amount of $49,400. On their bid, they do have some exclusions in there that amount does not cover. Had a committee, few people to look at it. I don't think that those exclusions should be excluded. And I apologize, I should have made copies and gave to you, but like one of them, they're saying that they're not responsible to correct the square or the leveling of the openings. They're not responsible for final cleaning, bonds, permits, masonry, lintels. I mean, I think that should all be part of their responsibility if they're gonna replace these windows. They're the original people that installed the windows to begin with. That's just my recommendation. It's up to you all to decide what you want to do with that bid.
And that was the only one we got.
That's the only one we received.
And I believe Gina, correct me if I'm wrong, but they came to the pre-bid meeting.
They came
Correct.
to the pre-bid meeting and they saw what the windows were, so they, they should know what they're dealing with. Couple other things on here, it said that they don't think that they should be responsible for a dumpster. Any work other than what's listed above, I mean, if they're replacing the windows, I think they should be responsible for the whole project. To complete it from beginning to finish.
How big is their variance for what they don't want to do to the bid specs?
Well, the original bid specs were like 72,000 and we got 56 in grants and their bid came in at 49.4.
But what did we give for a scope of work? We sent it out for bid.
That I would have to look at for the, because they're the ones that came in and looked at it and gave the estimates and what needed to be done. But I don't think it listed a lot of these things as being an individual item.
When we went out to bid, we didn't have a thrasher or somebody list the scope of work. Put it out to bid, we put this out to bid ourselves.
Yes.
So that's 42 stuff that we're not qualified to do.
And then we had our maintenance department to go with them and look at it, and that's just what we come up with.
My motion is to reject our firm to properly draw up specifications so that we get the bid to get the job done properly.
Well, motion's been made and seconded to reject the bid and hire a firm to properly measure, I guess. Yeah, that's not what she said, but,
Spec out. the
spec out
requirements.
the requirements for the project. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Can we have clarification of the motion? You want to spec out on a turnkey basis is what you want. Yes. Okay.
Spec out in turnkey
Basis.
basis. All in favor of that, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, review, consider rescheduling of the fifth applicant for administrator position. I think we scheduled a work session for that.
Correct, that doesn't need to be on there. Your interview, I believe the girl set up for Friday. So you have that already scheduled.
Okay, number 15, review, discuss, consider budget revisions.
We have one budget revision for Fund 27. And that is for courthouse security. Taken from them and given it to the senior citizens for their negative in their account.
Explain that again.
We are taking money from the courthouse security and moving it over to the senior citizens. Their maintenance line item is in the negative.
That because in the negative.
What the repairs that were done.
It's not listed here, but there's no detail here. Number two, it's the wrong form. State doesn't approve levy revisions.
What form do you propose we use, Mr. Ricker? What's the proper form?
One that would just be used in-house, but this is for changing our budget, and this is the levy move. So, Commissioner, this is an issue that you and Mr. Treecross brought up on this commission.
I'm not gonna get into this, David.
Well, I'm not going to get into it either.
I just asked a simple question. What's the form? So we do an in-house form. Okay. Are we gonna approve the,
No, ma'am, there's not enough information as far as I'm concerned.
she just explained it to you.
It's not on the form. For public record. You guys just want to just say a couple of words and pass stuff.
I just love the way things change all of a sudden around here. That's just what really gets me. But that's okay. It's the way you do business. Okay, what's the pleasure?
At least I bring stuff up and don't hide it.
What if either one of us did? Okay, you find out. I know you're working on it. You are.
Yes.
And also, that's one of the things we need to do, is like, for example, in the other 700. It's showing we're moving short of 184,000. But that's not true, but it is balanced. We have to find out how much of that is grant money.
Right, and
See what
that's,
I'm saying?
these funds have not been put in that grant revenue account yet.
Right,
And so that's why it looks worse than it is.
it does,
But
yes.
the packet I gave you is the budget line items of where they were negative in
Right.
the payroll and such to go along with these forms.
You see what I'm saying? David, Susan, with 184, 239 and 700, that is just being done because it gets reimbursed by grants, and that's, so that number, it looks bad, but it's actually not. Like, for example, Regina, we got $65,000 for overtime. Cover overtime expense, so that'll be part of this.
Okay, for overtime for, I'm sorry, I wasn't following.
You don't follow, you follow me on
Yeah,
that?
the 65,000 is for what they do at the contracts for the
Right,
Antero and stuff
right.
like that, yeah.
Okay, so
That
this
is
is,
correct.
so I don't want the public to think that they're over budget there. I don't believe they're really that far.
No, we just haven't been reimbursed. for
Right,
those.
okay. Okay, motion to approve.
The motion's been made to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
No. Improper.
There's no opposition and that's, it leaves it improper. But you have worked with the auditor's office, correct? On this too? Okay. Review, discuss, consider Greater Harrison County PSD water rate increase. Guys are up.
Revision to budget.
Excuse me, I guess I have to do A and B. Excuse me, guys, I'm sorry.
It's listed as 2 items.
Okay. To make a motion to approve it.
And motion was the same for A, now let's go ahead and make a motion to approve for B, please.
The motion has been made under 15 to, B, to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'd like to talk about it, madam.
Oh, excuse me.
Give
Okay,
him a chance to
Okay.
discuss.
sorry, didn't mean to move too fast. for you.
I need to know if the state already okayed this, because this was supposed to be done by June 15th.
I am aware of that. They gave us an extension.
The last, where's a copy of that extension?
It was a verbal.
Sorry, that doesn't count.
Maybe in your book, it counts in mine.
I guess we're
Any
back to
further
the issue.
discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We're sitting here. This is my ass that you're playing with. I'm
I
the
don't want
one-
to play with yours, thank you.
Okay, but I don't care. You can be a smart ass at the moment, but if things aren't gonna be done properly by this commission, I'm not gonna be held liable because it wasn't done right. And none of this is being done right. And you and him don't pay a lick of attention to it not being done right. You just rely on this lady to figure it out. You wanna be the president of this
Please
commission?
don't
Oh, I
speak
can
for me,
speak.
okay? No, you can't
You're
speak
the
for me.
president. You're the president of the
I
commission.
am, and I'm fine with this. Because I know
That's
they
sad.
have taught me, you can say how sad it is all you want, but I have spoken myself to individuals concerning this.
That they're not correct? And it was all supposed to be done by the
I don't need to
15th,
tell you what I found out.
so it's your commission now.
No, it's not my commission. But I think I can ask the appropriate questions to the appropriate, you're obviously asking questions of somebody else, so why can't I, sir, go out?
Oh,
and
I'm
give
telling
the
what my answers are.
Well, my answers are just exactly, she has spoken to the auditor's office. I as well have spoken. So there you go. There's what I found out. So If it's wrong, then they don't know what they're doing either. So do you have any further discussion, Mr. Hinkle, on this?
Yeah, I think this just shows the lack of professionalism in this commission, that you all have not properly brought anybody in here to understand the requirements. And I've said this all along, you all
I will take
no
note of
plan,
that. I will take note of that.
and that I will not be held responsible. when I
Make sure
make
that,
a
make sure
notice
that's on the record that he won't be held responsible because we did
That this-
something incorrect. or
Two
illegal.
commissioners are operating totally on their own,
Please write all that down.
please.
The motion was carried, I do believe, but we can take another vote. All in favor of approving B under 15? Aye. Any opposed? Number 16. I think, gentlemen, you're up. Sorry you had to sit there.
Me too.
I'm sorry everybody had to sit through that.
Good morning. Good morning. We're here on behalf of Greater Harrison County PSD. I hope you got your information packet that Zach sent. This has to do with, we'd like the commission to consider a water rate increase. We're looking at an increase on the Quiet Dell side. Another Fork, we buy our water from them to Quiet Dell. They're gonna have a 14% rate increase. So we're just wanting basically a pass through. However, we'd like to do some cost of living raises, Senate Bill 234, things of that nature. I brought Zach Dobbins with me today. He can go over the numbers that we supplied you if you have any questions. There was an error in the paper. It stated Schedule 2 minimum from $34.68. It goes to $37.28, not $40.17. I don't know if anybody caught that.
The 3,400 gallon bill got picked up.
Yes, instead of the minimum. Schedule 2 minimum.
The 3,468 should be going to 3,728.
Paper had it 40.
And basically what's happening, Nutter Fort is currently getting ready to start on a water project. And so their going level rates needed to be reviewed also. And at the current time, they were not meeting their Senate Bill 234 requirements also. So they are in the process of doing a going level rate case and then a pro forma rate case. I've spoke with them. They're doing a 14% across the board. David Glover is their attorney. They have started their ordinance process. Those rates should be in effect hopefully by September of this year. The project rates will not affect Greater Harrison because it's all in the city, the project is, and the town has agreed not to raise Greater Harrison's resale rate on the pro forma side. So what we're looking at on Greater Harrison's purchased water is approximately a $50,000 a year increase. Right now, for June 30th, 2020, we've purchased approximately $357,000 worth of water from Nutter Fort. So that increase would be $50,000. We're looking at giving a 3% COLA adjustment. We'd like to try to do that sometime in August. That 3% COLA adjustment, the water portion, would be approximately $13,000. That would include the payroll adjustment, the retirement, and then also the taxes. The last payroll increase that was given by Greater Harrison was in February of 2020. And the last payroll increase before that was back in January of 18. And then also you can see it July through June, They were still operating at a deficit. We have the Senate Bill 234 calculation in here. That should be 1/8 of your O&M expenses. We've only included half of that. We're going to try to gain the other half by trying to reduce our water loss, things of that nature, to try to recoup some income as we go along there. It's just unfortunately, it's very difficult. Greater Harrison has 3 systems that they've combined. One is in the area of Good Hope. One is in the area of Quiet Dell, Nutter Fort, and then the other is the Lost Creek Mount Clair system. The Lost Creek Mount Clair system is experiencing a lot more water loss than the other 2 systems. We're currently in the process of working with Thrasher Engineering on looking at a project. But unfortunately, even if we do start to consider some water savings there on that end with a project, we're going to have bond payments. So that's going to cause us a problem there. And what we're looking at here is a 7.5% increase. That 7.5% increase, all of our customers, except for basically the Quiet Dell area and Coons Run, a minimum bill would be going up $2.47 a month. A 3,400 gallon bill would go up $2.80 a month. On our Schedule 2 customers, which would be Quiet Dell and Coons Run, that minimum bill would go up $2.60, and a 3,400 gallon bill would go up $2.94. The 3,400 gallon bill is what the state has considered an average bill.
So you're looking at, I mean, because that was just water.
That's just water. That's correct. We're not proposing a sewer rate increase. We're working on right now. We have almost 3 of the 4 contracts on the sewer project substantially completed. So we're hoping to have that project, keep our fingers crossed. We hope to have that project finished by the end of the year.
These people that the minimum rate would be $2.
That's correct. You're looking.
Those people use more than the minimum rate, which would increase that.
I don't have that information off my with me directly, but a lot of your customers, you're going to have a lot of minimum users because our minimum is 3,000 gallons, and then statewide they've determined that a 3,400 gallon bill is an average for folks. And again, if we get ready when we would do the hearings and all of the public hearings, we would provide documentation of basically 0 up to probably 20,000 gallons going in 1,000 gallon increments, show them what that current bill is and what that increase is so that folks could see that depending on how much water they're using. And basically what we wanted to do today was to come present this to you, let you know where we're at, where we would be heading, just basically for an informational session.
Can I ask you this? What's the furthest distance that we take sewer to at Stonewood?
We have no sewer on Route 20.
None. So once
None.
you pass the bridge at Stonewood, Cost Avenue, that's it.
Stonewood treats Sandy's Hardware.
Okay.
And then there are small package treatment plants on Circle Drive, 7-Eleven, Infocision, they have their own little treatment plant, Bennett Manor, Bell Meadows. We take care of Bennett Manor and Bell Meadow Estates. Those subdivisions are billed our rate, yeah,
For sewer.
for sewer, but we have no central
So
sewer.
you
out
could
there.
pick up Harvard County line with it. Do you have how many households?
You know, I did, Patsy. We looked at that in 1999. It has grown a little since then.
Currently.
It decreased, you know, getting to Barber County line. I think that original plan quit right about where Select Specialty Painting Group is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then the density got a little less out
Right,
through there.
there's no houses.
Yeah, we looked up, you know, Route 57 and we went up 20,
How hard would it be to do a study to find out just how many residences you picked up? Because you know, one of the key to keeping rates down is picking up new customers, so everybody pays everybody's pitching in a little bit instead of pitching in a lot.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. Like I said, Coons Run was a good move. I don't mean to change drastically, but that system had some trouble. And now, it's not a bad system.
I'd love to.
You hear horror stories with, by the merger, we're able to take care of those customers better. They receive more accurate bills, they get bills on time, we can respond to customer complaints. Sometimes they would leave water off from Friday evening until Monday. These are things we hear now. So, now they're in our customer base, so we can do something to help small PSDs like Coons Run. And this rate increase here, 7.5 over everybody. We're just talking Valley, Good Hope, and Lost Creek like it used to be. We think that rate increase would be 12, 13 at least. So we're seeing it work now after all these years. You're right, the customer base and sewer get more.
We think that would keep the rates down just by adding more customers and putting in the infrastructure.
Yep, and Quantill is
It's booming.
a good area to look
Our
at.
players booming.
And Route 73, we've already picked up. Again, I'm back on sewer, not water. We were talking about water, but you brought it up.
But it
They
all
built,
connects, man.
I think we're in 32 condominiums down there at Green Tree Estates that they're building now. They built in conjunction with the sewer project. So when the sewer project was done, they can rent those out. We've had calls from behind the auto auction, 100 home subdivision.
And none of these were considered.
No,
They
no.
were, they weren't even in the making when we did
These are
this
all
project.
additional. We've
That's
just-
all sewage, no water.
That's all sewage.
That's
water
correct.
Tri-County, right? Like I said, I'm getting a little off on sewage.
No, we're on the same page, but water and
Yeah.
sewer, this is one and one dimension.
So that area, I do believe, Dave, you said you saw growth on 73 way back 2 years ago. And it's happening now without the system installed. You've got people wanting to know, what do we got to do to upgrade this, to do this?
Will you meet your August deadline for tax?
For taps and on Route 73, oh, no, I don't think we're going to make August.
Okay.
It's Enterprise is going very well. We started that project later. Route 73 has been difficult.
And we've actually, the project, the Route 73, Country Club, Laurel Park, that was all one project.
Yeah.
And the Enterprise was separate. We actually are starting to hook up. That project was really half Route 73 and then basically your Country Club Laurel Park. The Country Club Laurel Park folks, we've got working on substantial completion on those, and we're actually hooking up folks right now on that part of it.
Can I
So
ask you on the Tri-County, and I know this isn't all what we're here, but I never get this privilege to have you gentlemen in front of me like this. What was the final nut on the Tri-County waste treatment plant? Did it go, it's 8, 7?
Oh,
6?
how about cost?
no, that whole project was 22 million.
Yeah, 22 and then 8 for Enterprise. That was contracts 1, 2,
Just the
3,
waste
and
treatment
4.
plant.
Just the treatment plant?
Yeah.
I can't remember what that cost.
I don't have that
That's okay.
right with me.
That's okay.
I'll email you, Patsy. I have that information.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, Susan.
Back to water.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, David.
I'd like to know how much cash you have on hand, but that's the year end.
At June 30th, at June 29th of 2021, we had on hand $570,000. And we're supposed to be accumulating approximately $225,000 a year for Senate Bill 234, which we haven't done.
On top of that.
Correct.
What you want to do, but you haven't collected 225, but you got 570.
Correct.
What's your water loss throughout your system then?
29%. And they still owe the water fund still owes the sewer fund $300,000.
What's sitting in sewage?
Sewage, I believe sewage has approximately $800,000. We have to start making bond payments beginning September 1st on the $21 million project.
You guys
22
consider
million, I'm
acceptable
sorry.
water loss?
What I consider acceptable in the Lost Creek system, okay, PSC wants 15%. Quietdale, we run at about 18 to 20% in that range, which is acceptable. Valley of Good Hope, again, is acceptable range. Lost Creek, Mount Clair bounces anywhere from mid-20s. I've seen as high as 42%.
What's it cost to get to 15%?
What's the cost to get here? My God, Dave, we've been trying. We relayed all this.
Just asking.
I'm trying.
What
We've
we're,
spent-
Down there wanting to run new lines. and I
Well, we
want-
did that. We
I
ran
wanna
new
fix-
lines
I
through
wanna
Mount
fix
Clair.
what- I wanna
and
fix what we
that's
have.
what we're actually,
29%
We got
loss.
McWhorter. That's our bad section from the intersection in Lost Creek towards the Lewis County line. The McWhorter run, we believe that. We fixed a leak yesterday. Daily, we flow about 30,000 gallons. We've been, you can see it. I got a daily monitoring system up 70,000 gallons yesterday. You fix it, then
Throw a number at it.
I know the Thrasher right now, we're working on that because to try to, one thing is to get down to the 15%. If you go through the annual reports, very few of them are below that 15%. It's just hard to attain that, especially when you have systems that have been put in the 60s. And one of the,
Yeah, I'm asking.
that's one
I'm
of
afraid to give
the,
you a figure.
yeah, I mean, we don't have a figure right now.
That past, we can go off a past project. We spent, what, 8 million? Was it 8 million on the tanks, the water line replacement, the booster station? That was the last upgrade we did on the Lost Creek system in 2007, 8.
Probably.
Yeah, I guess that was about 8 million. That was
Give
probably,
you that information on the page of your tanks and booster
we
stations.
need to, Lost Creek tanks are good. Good Hope tank is bad. We have to address some issues at Locust Heights. There's 13 residents up there that have low pressure, since they tied on. We got a section of Coons Run. We have some hydraulic problems. There's an old AC line. We'd like to address that. We still have some additional water meters in the Coons Run area we'd like to replace to the radio read. Tank at Good Hope. We have one tank. It's built in 1972. I think we refinished it 20 years ago. It's lived its life expectancy. I'm afraid that when we get in there to refurbish it, they'll sandblast it and check the integrity of the walls. It, might be salvageable. So we're going to build a new tank. We don't have enough storage in that end of the county. Southern Harrison County was kind of left off for a long time. Like I say, Good Hope, we saw some growth out there. We can't fill the tank. It's gravity filled
Right.
from our Kirby Hill tank. So we'd like to pump water to it, keep more water in that section of the county. And it'll help fire protection, plus won't take us 3 days to recover from a leak if you can pump it up the tank instead of gravity fuel. When you look back, we've done, my gosh,
Well, I'm not saying you have.
I'm just, when you start talking about what we've done, I'm trying to think of the money we spent. Like, I can tell you one thing, it's got a little more expensive since '99.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it again, we're asking for a rate increase, which we just did everybody, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I know the flack's coming.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the other problem that you get into, and I wish that I could say it would be a better situation once you do a project. Sometimes it's cheaper to let it run on the ground. I know nobody wants to hear that, but even if you can cut some of your water loss, you're never going to cut exactly what you think you're going to. And right now, I know that we had a meeting at the Infrastructure Jobs Development Council. Places like CI Thornburg, which is now Sitco Water, said they wouldn't guarantee pipe prices for more than one day. Those
My
are,
question is for every percentage, what's the dollar amount? I guess. You're buying, how many gallons of water you're buying, so I'm just trying to put up a cost of that loss.
I didn't bring that. I have those numbers.
you're looking at, and this, again, this is with a leak, if I took out the leak adjustment rate, probably a couple $100,000.
On the annual report.
Mhm.
Yeah. You can see, we calculate
So it'd be
cost in
like-
dollars every month, and you'll see it as low as 2,000, and then Lost Creek do sometimes 23,000.
Cutting from 29 to 15. Bill does a good job, but I think would be impossible without a project,
Now what?
without a project.
Well, I think we have the money for that.
We just want to know how to get that.
Someone right down there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we would, we'd be more than willing.
The money for fixing your system and upgrading your system is something I think the commission has to look at.
I mean, because if we're talking about a project that we did, several years ago at 8, it wouldn't surprise me if the project now wouldn't be 16 to 18. Just based on what costs are.
That's an informational question. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good, how are you, Chuck?
Do you all have like an internal informational map that shows your acquisitions timeline, how it's expanded, what the date is on the CapEx side or the capital side? Because that's one of the big problems, right? Is what you take over, where is it, what's its age? But that would be helpful for the commission to see something like that.
We've been working on that, Trey, with Charlotte and with Thrasher, to come up with a master plan for the whole county. And there's a lot of gray area that nobody seems to have the answer for, but I know for the last year, was it Charlotte that you've been working with Mike and the PSDs to bring a map in that shows where all the water and sewage is and the line size.
We've got a really good map that shows every area served by Thrasher. It's not just, it's too big now. We're so spread out over the
Yeah.
county, but you gotta look at 3 maps or have a big wall.
Oh, yeah, I was just being curious.
Yeah, we do
Kinda
have
goes
that.
to What David was asking.
No, that's- we did it for, as far as doing, bringing businesses in because we didn't know whether or not to supply water and sewage. So,
And we found out we got plenty of water.
Yeah.
Just don't have an alternate supply. We have the West Fork River. It'd be nice to have another supply of water.
yeah, I think this county's gonna have to look at bringing water in from Tiger Lake one day.
Somewhere, an alternate source. I
Tiger
agree.
Lake from.
And Bridgeport,
From Marion County.
Yeah.
Bridgeport actually has they have a connection to Taylor County Public Service District.
Yeah, I think they'd like to run a 12-inch line or something.
Something 12 handy Bridgeport. That's a bunch of
I don't
water.
know, maybe a 20-inch line to handle that into the county.
Yeah.
We could Probably.
Jim Skidier's talking about building a water plant. That's, anywhere, I know, what you're saying is true. We need an alternate source, and
Yeah,
if somebody's gotta look at it, at least talk about it. It's like Slidell,
Is
you need to talk.
Tiger Lake is the only one that ever gets on that, so.
Buffalo Lake is still setting up there,
I think you could bring it probably.
probably good. It's a shame.
I just, if you could get me some more information as far as this goes.
And you wanted cost?
Cost, I'm just trying to understand. I don't want to go out and tell people that we have to give them a rate increase. I personally feel we should be able to cut a deal with the city of Clarksburg at some kind of pass through, I guess, what you're doing. Another for it now to try to keep that increase down.
Remember the way it's set up now, Clarksburg has about free advantage on us, because what they do is they raise it on us, so they don't have to raise it themselves. So they never have a rate increase.
Clarksburg hasn't had a rate increase.
That's because they dump it on you.
Well, no, we haven't had. a
Yeah,
rate
we
increase.
haven't had one for a while. I will give them that. And
It's been a while.
And the last increase they did, I believe, was in a 4 or 5 year step.
Yep.
And I will give them that before they did it, they actually came to Bill and brought me in with it and provided me with documentation to review. So that one wasn't too bad. I don't know what they have planned, You know, I haven't heard anything, but,
We want to replace their line, but yeah.
Well, I got a question for you guys. You know, they did a 4-year tier increase, July 1, July 1, July 1, July 1.
Right.
PSC would not allow us to, say this was happening, say Clarksburg was gonna raise their rates this August the 1st. If we would come to this commission, knowing that they're gonna raise it the next 4 years on August the 1st, could we get an increase for the next 4 years to go into effect as soon as their rate hits us through the commission? The PSC would not allow us to do that. We had to wait until we received a bill. Then we submitted the pass-through to the PSC. July 1, we had to wait till August to get a bill. August, we received a bill for the new rate. We applied with the PSC. You waited till earliest November, December to get your rate increase granted to you. Even though you knew next year was going to happen July 1, again, we had to wait until August of the next year to submit. I can never understand, you lose in 4 years, you lose a year's worth of revenue, easy. And
I'd be agreeable to it if you can find another 1,000 customers. How many systems do you have left to take over?
you tell me, I mean, I don't really. Not that many left in our area, don't look like
For
that.
Greater Harrison.
We're Greater Harrison,
So Harrison County, your area.
maybe Shinson will give us enterprise, we'll have sewer and water both, who knows? Huh?
And you know, the other thing too, that I think I could try to make work, and what it would do is just delay Senate Bill 234 funding. You know, we're talking a little over $2 on these folks on a minimum bill. If you guys wanted to try when, I think Dave was the only, Ms. Schenkel was the only one here when we did the stepped rates on the sewer. If we wanted to try to do just 6 months, half of it for 6 months, and then another 6 months, put the other half in, that'd be something to think about. I think I could make it work for,
Bring that proposal back, because that seemed a little more easier to get through.
I can definitely work on that.
You remember we talked about vehicles one time, we wanted to work that into our budget where we could replace a vehicle. Well, you guys didn't agree with us. Now we're looking at vehicles with 120,000 miles on it. If we could structure something in there where we could replace a vehicle every 2-3 years, that would be huge, huge. I mean, those trucks are run. I mean, I can't tell you how many miles it is.
Even the ones that don't have a lot of miles on them, it's that in and out, in and out.
They'll wear
Start,
a seat
stop.
out. I mean, you will actually wear a seat out of those vehicles. The floor mats right now, they're all vinyl floor mats. Where the heel is, they're worn down to the metal. I mean, they clean them, we service them, but my gosh, you put traveling from West Milford to Coons Run, for example, a couple trucks, you know, every day somebody goes to Coons Run. Pretty soon we're going to be boozed with it. You know, we're down, that's a lot of miles on a vehicle. And it's difficult enough to keep them running, but when they get 180,000 miles on it, if it was my vehicle, I wouldn't fix it, you know, but what are you gonna do when you need a vehicle? What are you gonna do? You have to fix it.
Back with,
We came with that.
I know you did, but at the
He
same
said
time,
come
you
back.
came with 21% increase too, if I remember right, was it, or 18?
Well, it might have been,
Yeah.
that was 18 or so, it wasn't 21.
I don't recall.
I recall.
You recall high.
Yeah.
And what I'll do, I'll go back, I'll update that for putting that rate increase, maybe do like 6-month steps. And then we'll try to update that with like a truck replacement. If you recall before, we had meter replacements and tank replacements in there also. And maybe we can look at, you know, just something with the truck one this
And
time.
again, I'd like an idea of like 5 years, but I'd love to see what your plans are, what you need to be in 3 years as far as the system goes. Where you think you're at. But I'm a big person on getting this water lost down.
You know, look at the sewer side. You got a lot of
You guys
inflow,
make a lot of money over
you
there.
got a lot of inflow and infiltration.
If
It needs
you-
fixed also.
if you
Water, You're
remember-
losing it, you know, it's going out, sewer, it's coming in. You know, we invested how much in Lakeland Terrace?
I told him to quit working on it.
We worked in Lakeland Terrace extensively. We replaced manholes, line, we moved buildings, we rebuilt fences where stuff was on top of it, hoping to reduce the sewer bill of Bridgeport. You know, and we track we track monthly rainfall, how much and how much our bill was. So water, you're losing it, sewer, you're taking it in. So, and these systems are all old. You know, Greater Harrison built 1986. Some of the subdivisions in Canada were built in the late 70s with no regulation. So, you know, sewer, again, it's the same thing. It's just coming in instead of going out.
And we've gotten,
Mhm.
You still make good money.
well, and we've gotten,
It costs us.
we've gotten that, we've got that turned around through the help of the county. When I first started for Greater Harrison, the money owed was flip flop. The sewer owed the water. And I can remember I was calling vendors, say, hey, can I have another week? Can I have another week to pay sewage bills? And, you know, the county allowed us to do that in a 3-step phase for this last project that we did. That's really helped. I know that 800,000 sounds like a lot of money if we piled it up here on the table. We have issues with contract 3 right now that we're trying to get that done in a timely manner. We know that we're going to be behind. And, you know, that's one of the things that I know we're going to get into issues, and that's been great that you all allowed us to put those rates into effect, because now I've got a little bit extra money that if I have to make 2 or 3 bond payments without all of these customers being hooked on, that we can do that. So that's another big thing that we're trying to take care of.
We took care of a lot of debt.
We've got a lot to do, guys. Thank you.
That's right, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff.
I'll just ask a question. I'd like to go into. I was curious how much of the system is currently satellite based in terms of meters and checks in the system, but that's just, we don't have to go with that. So that's kind of the future, right?
We have no satellite reads right now. They're all radio reads, we call them, laptops and the iPads.
Okay.
No, I have satellite telemetry.
Like the pumping stations, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But the actual metering system isn't, but most of the pump station, the tanks, all of that are switched over to the
If
satellites.
you have a really good cell phone signal, take cell phone if you can, but satellite is a huge plus for what we do. You get remote areas, you see the sky, it'll usually work.
What's the do or die for this increase? What's the date?
I'd like to have it implemented by at least October.
I was thinking August or September, but that's just me.
Don't you have to have public hearings?
Yeah, I know it's gonna take a while. I mean, that's the problem that I get into. I mean, the town of Nutter Fort, they're gonna go quickly. Because they're gonna have a couple meetings, they're gonna pass an ordinance, and it's gonna roll through. I'll work on this information to get this updated here in the next day or so and get it back out to y'all. And then we'd really like to hit the ground running, because we're gonna be behind on Nutter Fort.
We can get those numbers to them by, I'll get a dollar figure on that order run also through Thrasher. And maybe get that to you by next week, and then maybe we could come 2 weeks from now. I don't think a week will be enough for us to get you the information you digested. Maybe come see you in July.
Sound good? Okay, I appreciate you all letting us come and talk to you. I'll get you that information, Patsy, on the plant, what that costs. Thank you very much.
Number 17, review, discuss, consider GSA change order number 2, unsuitable soils.
I believe that Glenn is on Zoom from Sealing and Associates, if we have any questions regarding this.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've also asked CEC Co. should be on the line too, if we have any questions regarding the soils underneath our foundations and the recommendations for the replacement with the type of stone we used or when we use lean concrete. I think he can be available also.
Did we expect it to be this high? Is this not something we would have known about?
There was a significant amount of water that comes down from the hill. That even on dry days, we get a significant amount of water. That's not surface water runoff, but it's between the layers of soil that comes into our site. So that has created problems when we excavate. But if you want to ask if we anticipated a certain amount, I might want Co, since they did the geotechnical report, to step in, and he can tell us the reasons behind the design and what we used.
We think this is it?
I think we're about 80% through it. These are through June 21st. We had a few more foundations that needed some work. So yeah, there'll probably be another amount next month to review for the next month's pay application. We'd like this one approved so we could get it on this month's pay application and get the subcontractors paid. So
I understand that.
yeah, this is the majority of it. There's no doubt.
That's all I have.
Hey Glenn, who was the direct hire for the soil contents? Was it us, Rycon Sealing? Who was it?
Could you state the first part of the question again? Who was the direct hire?
For the person that, company that did the soil checks, so they approve it and check to see what exactly we had over there. Who hired that firm? Who?
The Harrison County hired CEC to do the drilling and geotechnical report.
Mark, can you get me a copy of that agreement, please?
You want me to get it right now?
No, I just want to see it. I want to read exactly. Do you have any ballpark idea of how many gallons of concrete went into that and what it cost us, or yards of concrete?
Yeah, if you've got a copy of that change order number 2, the second page of it has a breakdown of how many cubic yards were backfilled with crusher run, how many cubic yards were backfilled with lean concrete that did not require the excess soil hauled off. And then the third line is how many cubic yards of over excavation of soil was excavated. And it required a amount of soil to be hauled off site, because once you excavate the bad soils, you've got them piled up on your site. They have to be trucked off with over the road trucks. So that second page speaks to that. And it was 750 yards with crusher run stone, 36 yards of concrete backfill that didn't have to have any unsuitable soils hauled off the site, and 530 yards of concrete that was placed in the over excavations, and that quantity had to be hauled off site, the bad soils. So that's on page 2. It's a summary.
So how much did we have in there in the beginning for over excavation?
We had 1,000 yards at a bid price of $61 a yard. So there was a $61,000 allowance, which is deducted. It shows that deduct on the second page. The problem was the site was so wet that the cubic yardage of stone that was in the bid, that type of stone could not be used in areas where water was continually pouring in. You had to backfill it quickly with lean concrete due to the amount of water coming in the site. that amount is shown as a credit to the owner. Well, it's going to be billed for in a different line item. So that allowance was in the bid. This is the additional amount added to the contract.
Ask a question. Hey, Glenn, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
In terms of the change order language in the contract, there's supplementary conditions because we're a public entity. And they provide that overhead and profits shall not be calculated on charges in the work involving unit prices. So I was trying to understand how you got the contractor O&P bond insurance B&O at $18,403. Because on my read of it initially this morning, I see unit prices and I see overhead and profit included in change order number 2.
So the unit prices were prices that Rycon told us their subcontractors needed. So these are the subcontractor provided unit prices. So any work that's done by a subcontractor, Rycon has the ability to mark up for 10% overhead and profit on work done by subcontractors, and then they've got their bonds and insurance and any applicable taxes. So the unit prices.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the unit prices were agreed upon subcontractor unit prices, and since this passes through Rycon, they have administrative costs associated with implementing this work.
Yeah, I understand they have costs, but I don't see that in 7.2.3 that they can charge those costs on subcontractors' work that involve unit prices. But I just raised that in my review this morning. I noted it, and I wanted the commission to be aware of it.
So the total right now, the overage right now is 136, and then when it's all said and done, it'll be around 155, right?
The 136 represents the difference in what's been done so far minus the bid allowance that was already there. And on top of the 136 was the markup. So we're still, like I say, we're probably at 90% done with the footings, but that 155 is what we've got through June 21st. So I don't know if that answers your question, but we will have an amount to apply to next month's billing to finish out the last of the over excavation.
You see anything else coming up that we should be ready for? Like, you know, a couple weeks ago was the telephone poles, electric poles. Now it's the water coming down off the hill. Anything else you're starting to see we may have overlooked?
We have discussions with the power company, and we've had for the last couple of weeks with First Energy trying to work through an issue where they want the loop from South 3rd Street, the connecting loop from Washington through Maine. They want that upgraded, and they want the county to pay for it. And from speaking with Laura, I think the county's got a different opinion. So we're trying to work through how to get that loop. It's a redundant loop for when power goes out. So right now everybody's powered properly, but the conduits are probably crushed because they couldn't pull the old conductors out. So First Energy has requested a new run of 2 conduits all the way across Maine to the pole. So we're trying to work through the issues of how that gets installed and who pays for it.
And that's for their backup systems, what that is.
That is correct.
But we don't need that to power the building up.
Your building could be powered without that if they choose to turn the power on.
As far as this invoice goes, I make a motion that we pay that subcontractor amount of $136,975. Just hold off on the 18,403 until legal is satisfied that we owe that money.
Motion's been made.
What's the 18?
That's the markup, right? Is that-
Yes.
Trey was questioning. The motion's been made to pay the 136,975 and hold off on 18,403 until legal has time to research that. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried, to pay 136,975.
I don't know, it's full commissioner comments, so on, but I think we need to get somebody from the fire company in here, conversation with the commission. Why the field need to pay. It's electrical move.
Yeah, we're working on that already.
Thank you, Glenn. Okay, number 18, administrative report.
We've requested that all vital services financials are due by July 2nd. The vital services levy work session has been scheduled for July 8th, starting at 9 a.m. Court Street agreements are almost complete, and then we'll work on the lights going up. And working on just finishing up year end in the budget.
Possible millings.
Greg is pulling some down to see what he has found and how much we would need, and then he will get them to me. So we see what our options are for approval. Correct.
Questions? Number 19, commissioners' comments. Mr. Duval, do you have anything?
We did, I think it's time to, not sure, a few weeks ago, but we gave the park board some responsibility for getting some parks in the shape that we like. I think maybe next week, if you have that here, so we can update on some of our, across. Off the top of my head was, we just want to make sure that things are moving forward. And also, give me a breakdown of how many people are of the park and recreation staff that was hired, how many of those are weed eaters, grass cutters? I just want curious to see how many of those are actually, I want to say this, field laborers. That's all.
Going back through the minutes for the last couple of months. On April 14th. The motion was passed. That we would be seeing costs. And how money was being tracked for the new sheriff department. But I haven't seen anything that's tracked the expenditures. Voted on by this commission for that to be given to us. In that same meeting, cost moved to hire Thrasher for 20,000 to perform engineering services regarding the 2 legs of the rail trail. I still haven't seen exactly if there's a contract between us and Thrasher and a description of that job. Has that been available to you, Trey?
Don't believe I will do the contract. Sir.
So that same meeting, Commissioner Treecost and Commissioner Thompson voted for the rail trails, the maintenance and Parks and Rec in conjunction with the Director of Maintenance. I don't know if that's true to this day, if that's how it's being handled. Item 14, County Commission approved, Marion County Commission, Marion County Parks, West Virginia State Rail Authority. Treecost moved to approve administrative staff legal to work with entities regarding this matter. I've yet to see anything concerning these matters. But any agreements have been approved, any meetings that have been set up have not been notified so that I may attend. We have a meeting on April 19th. Mr. Treecost thinks that someone needs to be in place to approve time card workers' comp prerequisitions along the way with other things. This was our discussion when we were hired a temporary administrator. I think that that was gone well past that. Agreed with Patsy on 14 on April the 21st. We charged our Parks and Rec to handle Summit Park, Spelder Park, Walls Park, Blackdale Park with money to be spent to improve. And to come back with a report for $20,000 to do it. Like that. To my knowledge, other than a little bit of work done at Summit Park, none of these projects have been started. Our staff has not done any work that I know of or been presented with anything. I've not been told if there's any meetings, or how they plan to accomplish this. Then we get into, on that day, this commission discussed how to fill the vacant position of county administrator. Mr. Treecost moved to appoint Laura Peace as the interim county administrator. And she will be relieved but oversee her former position at the OEM. Commissioner Treecost moved for Mrs. Peace to go up on pay grade temporarily. Commissioner Treecost moved for the commission to get a job description within 2 weeks to permanently fill the position. And then 8 to 10 weeks time frame to advertise and hire for permanent county administrator. Mr. Treecost went on to say he moved to seek a hiring firm with the commission's direction within 2 weeks to replace county administrator by placing ads and hiring. Commission concurred. I've yet to see the records where we went out and hired a firm or went to seek a firm for this replacement. And what I'm reading to is the minutes of the commission and what was passed that day. So hopefully I get to see that stuff. Then on April 20th, and 28th, discuss closing the bridges. We voted to have Brasher look at it. I still have yet to see a report on the bridges. And if they are truly structurally sound. I've only heard verbal from several people. I don't understand why we don't have a written report. Then we get into, we passed, commission concurred to do a clerk of the works. And have legal look into change order if necessary. Mr. Zimmerman, has there been a change order written for clerk of works to cover this $24,000 in the description of the job?
Don't believe a change order has been drafted as of today. We did draft, I believe, a job description for such a position.
Moving on to May 5th. Tree cost asked about status of board docs. We'll look into it. I didn't see anything on board docs. I've been apprised of any meetings about board docs. May 12th meeting. Discuss, consider budget revisions. Courthouse security. Are those all taken care of? Or
Yes.
Laura, another administrator's report, Laura has found a firm to advertise for the position of county administrator. Who was that firm?
Gov HR.
Is there any other firm that you looked at?
There were several that I looked at.
Pick this one.
This one in particular became highly recommended from the city of Bridgeport and city of Clarksville.
For this type of position.
So they used it for their city manager position.
On May 19th, review discussed job requirements for county administrator. Susan Thomas stated that it was her understanding that each commissioner was to submit their ideas for job description to Laura Keys. For her to compile and look for companies to advertise for job openings. I asked to have a work session. Discuss that the commission should place a supplemental paragraph on the job description if needed. Laura said she'd already placed the advertisement for the position and I moved to a work schedule. Other item that I'm concerned about, but I don't know if it's taken care of, Trey, was the letter between the airport and the county commission. Was that ever signed by all parties? Releasing the county of the lease.
I believe that was taken care of. Are you referencing in relation to the old,
Yes, sir.
the waiver issue? That was,
Discharge the lease.
that was addressed and that was discussed in a public meeting, and we had John Ashcon present on behalf of the airport. He explained it all and it was addressed, yes.
On this date, we discussed individuals parking under the annex that are not paying for parking. Or since she would look into who is paying for parking under the annex. If you could supply that report to all the commissioners, I would appreciate it. Work session. Attorney Zimmerman stated that the job description and posting was discussed on April 21st. Meeting on 24th. I think I read through that, and that's not the case. To the record, if you'd like to see April 21st.
Take a look at the minutes. I also recall distinctly inviting all the commissioners if they had supplemental items or descriptions for the county administrator position. That there was no problem with supplementing the job description on GovHR. But I'll look at that April 21st minutes.
According to the minutes, there was just a motion for the commission to get a job description and 2 weeks to permanently fill position. And then 8 weeks time frame to advertise and hire. I don't think that there's anything in here about job posting. So these are our minutes. What we said, it wasn't recorded. These were voted on, and accepted. You stated then, the first option was to stay on the path, which was a path that, in my opinion, was not correct in the fact that the job description and the posting was not authorized under the 21st. The second option is to bring the item to the next commission meeting for review, which didn't happen. RFPs, again, will get proposals from different services on advertising. Again, this did not happen. I've never seen a list of other services on advertising. So I'm not sure why we go through these meetings and pass stuff and ask for stuff. Doesn't happen. 526. Review, discuss, repair options of the 5 bridges. I made a motion not to proceed, and I was voted down. Ms. Peace recommended repairing the bridges rather than placing them. Again, Ms. Peace is not an engineer. Recos made a motion to resurface the bridges. And the motion carried. Made a motion to resurface the bridges. How? With what? No information, which is typical of how we operate. It's just resurface them. Let's do it. Update on Paycom, put on hold. Update on board docs, put on hold. Update on new accounting software, put on hold. I don't want to think about how many times that stuff's been put on hold. Nobody seems to want to give answers. So let's dive into the meeting, June the 2nd. I wanted to discuss the liability for repairing the bridges. Mr. Zimmerman advised he would like to review the county insurance policy. Never seen a report on that. 13, consider the labor cost associated with the repairs of the 5 bridges. No action needed. So I guess the labor's free. I don't understand how there can be no action to discuss labor costs. Review and discuss having Thrasher give us an engineering report stating that the 5 bridges on the rail trails are structurally sound. No action needed. So this county is taking on the responsibility of these bridges being structurally sound because we don't believe there's any action needed. Review and discuss and consider having Thrasher do a drawing to work up the work to be done. No action needed. Our people are expected to go out and become engineers. I don't understand that either. And if this is no actions needed, it's hard to imagine how that works. Update on Paycom. RP's explained Paycom, Commissioner Thomas would like to see correct time punches. I'd just like to see it work. Update on board docs. County clerk getting things going. Don't know what that means, but okay. County software. Everyone's in agreement. They're looking for a new software. We've been looking for a new software for 2 years. Well, I hate to do this to y'all, but this is what happens when we sit up here and say we're gonna do stuff and nobody follows it up. Nobody. And nobody wants to discuss it. And nobody wants to question what's being done. Last meeting I have, and then I'll be almost done with my comments, is June the 9th. Again, wanted to discuss in-house labor doing the repairs on the bridges. But Ms. Thomas took it upon herself to postpone the items that I had on the agenda, 16, 17, 18, and 20, because her and Mr. Treecost didn't want to discuss those with me because I missed the previous week. I find it amazing that if we're supposed to be up here working together, to accomplish things, that if a commissioner misses something, then he is chastised for missing the meeting. I have not done this to Mr. Treecost, who's missed 2 or 3 meetings this year, who've never brought it up. And because I missed a meeting and they talked about it the previous week, I was not allowed to discuss what they discussed. And my final is how we got to who we are looking for county commissioners to oversee and manage our issues. I don't know how many of you probably not have seen it, but Susan and Patsy and myself all gave Laura tidbits on what we'd like to see. And I gave her one. The interesting thing is, you can take theirs, and she duplicated it. You can find everything that she put out without approval from this commission is in these 2 forms. I look at mine, that are in the thing, and I asked her if she took anything from the commissioners to put into it, and she said no. I want you to understand that we went out and looked for a county administrator, and nowhere was it asked if that person had background as a county administrator, had ever worked as a city manager, had a degree in public management. Those were none of the requirements. Biggest requirement was that you spent 10 years in government is service. Everybody in this room qualifies to sit and be a county administrator. So I'm not real sure how we got to where we did, but I think it's interesting. Nothing was ever presented to the commission before that ad was placed. And I was never approached. This commission never approved for that job listing to go out. And today we brought people in that interview that meet no educational qualifications to sit in the seat of Mr. Parker. And I'm done.
I have nothing further. Motion to adjourn. In favor, aye.